Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the FY2019 Lib Tech funding for the coming year. My name is Shannon Furlow. I am the IT Program Manager and I oversee the LibTech Fund. This slide just shows you a breakdown of your allocation for this year. There are two parts to it. There is an FY18 allotment and an FY19 allotment. For FY18, there's two pots of money. The first part is any system-specific balances from FY18. So that could have been the 3D printer. It could have been any kind of money that you may have not spent and it rolled over. The second half of this is the Innovation Grant Fund. We really weren't able to do what we wanted to this year with all the restrictions, and we wanted to release that money to you. So we broke this down according to the normal funding formula. So those two pieces combined for your FY18 allotment. The other part here is your FY19 allotment, and that is broken down according to the normal funding formula. So you do have these two balances. They are separate on this slide for a reason, one blue, one pink, because you do need to report them separately this year. I'm going to show that to you a little later. Here's the timeline for the year. Of course, the October 26th purchasing plan deadline is coming up. You can submit your purchasing plan at any point. We will turn that around and approve it for you as we get them, but everything will be done and approved by November 2nd. We do have a January 11th recommended deadline for library procurement. We do highly recommend this. You do need time to receive the item, pay for it, and get that invoice in time to submit your reimbursement by the February 1st deadline. One of the big changes this year is the allowable items list. So previously, if it was technology with a 5-year shelf life and met the public access requirement, it was allowable. This year, it's all about what's on the list. So if it's not on the list, it's not allowable. Some notable things that are not allowed this year would be microfilm, makerspace, gaming systems, virtual reality systems. Some other things, questions that have come up, barcode scanners are not allowed. Self-check stations are not allowed. Any kind of supply item for your printers, RFID tags, all that's not allowed this year. Another big change is this larger project. So there are certain items that are only allowed if a part of a larger project. They would be computer accessories and network hardware. So when you're thinking larger projects, think system-wide. It doesn't have to be every system, every branch in your system, but it should be something like 2 or more branches, just something that shows this is a larger project across all your system. Items cannot be purchased piecemeal. So in the past, you were able to search for that best deal, and maybe you bought monitor from CDWG, maybe you bought the CPU from Dell. It's not how it works for larger projects if you are going to include computer accessories. So for example, if you're upgrading your computer lab, you want to get monitors, CPUs, and keyboard mouse combos. Because you've included that keyboard mouse combo, it is considered a larger project, and all that needs to be on one invoice from one vendor, such as getting everything from Dell. When you're looking at your invoice, you want to make sure they say words like tech upgrade, tech replacement, LibTech fund. If it says MRR, it will be denied. When they think of MRR, they are thinking of that renovation part that sits underneath. So you want to make sure you start using that LibTech fund. At the reimbursement phase, you want to make sure you do that justification statement for the larger projects, and it includes the language we just talked about. So tech upgrade, tech replacement, LibTech fund, talking about how many branches are included, really showing what it's for and that it meets that larger project requirement. Here's a look at that split that I was talking about. So you will have to split, make sure you show your 2 different amounts, FY18 and FY19, both at the purchasing plans phase and the reimbursement phase. Here I'm showing the purchasing plan phase. So you do have two tabs here, one for FY18, one for FY19. You want to make sure that your bottom lines match as close as possible to that allocation amount that you receive. You may have to split items across the plans to make sure that you match the bottom line, and I'm going to show that in the next slide. So here's an example. Your FY18 allotment is $2,500. Your FY19 allotment is $21,000. Let's say you are purchasing a high-end desktop that totals $2,600. So for FY18, you're going to list $2,500 of this item. And then what you'll do is you'll split it, and then on the FY19 plan, you're going to list that extra $100, showing that you had to split the transaction across the two tabs to meet your bottom line numbers. So you do need to mark larger projects. You need to mark it on the purchasing plan side and on the payment request side. So here's an example of the payment request form for reimbursement. You do see the boxes there marking for larger projects. On the right here, you do see the box here for larger project justification. If you mark any invoices as larger projects, you want to make sure you mark that box, and you do have to include that justification statement. And you'll see an example of that in the sample packet. Reduce amount requested. This is really critical if pricing changes. So I had that question earlier. What happens if the pricing changes from the time that you submit your purchasing plan to when you go to actually make the purchase? What would you do? So you do have a couple options. You need to keep the vendor and the item the same, but you can change quantity. So for example, if maybe there's a deal and they're cheaper, you can include more quantity. If they are more expensive though, you have a couple different options. You can certainly reduce the quantity amount, or you can include your full quantity, but only ask for reimbursement for that amount that's allowed. So that would be what you see here. For example, here's Amazon, and you had an invoice that was $25.93.98. It ended up being more expensive when you went to go purchase it. And you're asking for $2,500 as the amount requested because that's all your allotment is available for your allotment, for example, for FY18. So you can do that. So you can try and get as much as possible out of your allocations for this year. It would just be that $93.98 would have to be covered by the library. So sample packet, I'm going to show you that in just a minute. It includes a signed payment request form. The cover sheet is updated and different for larger projects. There are two invoice lists, one for your FY18 allocation and one for your FY19 allocation. It does include examples of invoices. This is really important. The invoice must say invoice. Or in the case of Amazon, it must say final details at the top. They won't accept quotes, bids, or order confirmations. This is different from in the past. You do need to include a proof of payment. That can be a variety of different things. It can be a check stub that exactly matches the amount on the invoice with a note that says what invoice is included. You can combine multiple invoices on one check stub. For example, for Amazon, let's say you have 3 different invoices. You can include it on one check stub. You just need to make sure there's a note there that says what invoices are included in the amount, so GSFIC can make that one-to-one match. You can include credit card statement, but you have to be really careful about this. It has to exactly match the amount, and there should be some sort of notation, like an invoice that can, so we can do that one-to-one match back to the invoice. Some vendors do provide a zeroed out invoice. That would work as long as it shows what the proof of payment is. Hey, you've applied here, and now you're zeroed out. You want to make sure also that you include your approved purchasing plan in your reimbursement packet. So let's go ahead and take a look at that sample packet. So here's the first page. This is your updated cover sheet. You are showing there's the FY18 $2,500. There's the FY19 $21,000. There is a certification statement here for larger projects. So when we go to the first invoice, you can tell it's the FY18 by this GPL91 number. Here's that example where I was showing you with the price difference. So it shows the $25.93.98, but the amount requested is only $2,500 because that's what your allocation is. And down here at the bottom, it's showing $2,500. There's no larger projects included in this FY18 money, so the justification here is blank. For FY19, you can tell it's FY19 here by that GPL98 number. So it does include larger project invoices. Both boxes are checked here. So when you go down here, here's your amount. It should equal the allotment. So you see here for an enhanced vision, we did have to make an adjustment because there's only enough available in that allocation to cover the $4,665.30 out of the larger invoice. Here's a larger project justification. Again, it's using words like technology upgrade, technology replacement. It's saying exactly what it's for. It's mentioning computer lab technology replacement. It's mentioning, upgrades to assistive technology stations. These are the things they are looking for. You may want to also add if it's system-wide, if it's including multiple branches. So here's an example of an Amazon invoice. I did want to show it to you since order confirmations are not allowed this year. It does have that final detail information wording right here at the top. Taxes are zeroed out here. Here's the check stub for it. You kind of see the amounts, the exact amount over here. There is a notation that includes the invoice information, what invoices are included in the check, and the amount. Here is a sample Dell invoice. You can see this is a larger project because it includes the keyboard mouse combo. So it does have the language about computer lab replacement, and there are no taxes. Here's the check stub for Dell. Again, here's your amount over here, and then our note that says what invoices are included in the amount. Here's a sample enhanced vision invoice. It is considered a larger project because in addition to the reader here, you do have this big keys keyboard. So it says assistive technology stations upgrade, and then the tax is zeroed out. Here's the check stub, matching amount right here off to the right, and there's a note here that says what invoice is included in the amount. You want to make sure you include your approved purchasing plan in the reimbursement packet. So this is an example for the FY18 plan and then the FY19 plan. So that's it for the presentation here. I do have a dedicated email for questions for a LibTech fund. So that's what's included here. It's the LibTech support at georgialibraries.org. For the documents that were included in this webinar, here is the link for that. It's the direct link to that folder. It includes the timeline, easy guide, slides from today, and that sample packet. And of course, there is my cell phone number. So I'm going to take questions. We'll go ahead and stop the recording and take those questions.